You guys are witnessing history. Auto steer is driving us. I'm not touching. I mean, I can hold my hands over here. You can see that we're off by inches at worst. It's way better than I can do steering by hand, so that's pretty dang good. Pretty exciting day on our farm. We are taking our 1984 Allis Chalmers 8030 and bringing it in to the next century. We are finally going to add auto steer. We have had guidance. It's not the best guidance, but we've had it for a while with an Android app that we have on the radio that we've got installed in the tractor, and that's what we've been using for a long time. However, now we're not going to have just guidance because we have the EZ Guide 500, but we also are going to have EZ Steer. All of this is through Trimble, and let's get into it and see what exactly it entails. You saw that quick, hasty unboxing. I didn't go through all the steps with you guys because a lot of it was just trial and error on what I liked. So I will show you what I did, but just not quite as in-depth as actually going through the install. So actually just turn this on. So we gotta roll through this, and then you gotta do it every time. So I don't really care for that, but it's okay. It's getting GPS signal. Right here, you can see all these wires that come out of the back of this. All those wires come out and simply go up into the well, not in the headliner, I guess, but under the headliner on this ledge. They go under that headliner on the ledge, and then just continue all the way down and then come out right here. I've got a little bit of a mess back here that I still need to tidy up. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with it exactly. This needs to be tidied up somewhere, and I didn't, but minor details. The remote is not necessary, but with the remote, it allows you to sit back and be comfortable rather than having to lean forward all the time and trying to do something on the screen. I also like that you can continue an old event. At first I didn't think you could, but now I've realized you can. So very happy about that as well. I don't need to record a boundary because we already have one. So all that is pretty handy. I like that a lot. The few things that are kind of inconvenient, I would say, is this controller, because it does need to be in a certain area. The instructions just specify it needs to be directly over an axle. It doesn't matter if it's the front or the rear axle, but obviously, in my case, it's got to stay inside and out of the weather, so the rear axle is the only choice. And then, so you're kind of limited on where you can mount it and all that other good stuff. The other thing is it's got a lot of cables that come out of it, and it creates a little bit of a mess. Not as bad once you zip tie them up and put them in some wire looms like I've done, but like this one doesn't really make it to that wire loom just because it has a special connector up here. So is what it is. Not a big deal. That controller back there, actually, if I shake the tractor, see how those numbers bounce around a lot more? That is compensating for terrain. So if we're leaning at an angle or something like that, it's compensating for it so that we're still in the same path. We'll show you more about this when we get to the field. But overall, this is how we installed the steering mechanism. I had to get some all thread, and then not only that, I had to bend it so it would actually go around my steering column because it's just really big on this tractor. Now if you had a power director and you have that switch here, I don't think it would be in your way, but something to think about, I guess. So this steering wheel right here, or steering motor, free spins pretty easily. When you're ready to use it, you'll see here in a second, there's a pin right here I pull, and it'll come right against my wheel. I'm actually just gonna leave it there because it's really not that bad. The only thing that catches me sometimes is, you know how you like to keep your hand on the wheel, so sometimes it gets there and it gets your finger a little bit, but it's not bad because that's foam covered and it doesn't hurt. All right, so everything's installed just like you've seen in the video earlier. Kind of just gave a brief overview of how everything went. Now I'm just going to show a brief overview of how the EZ guide works. So not the EZ steer portion, because as you can see right here, just like we talked about, we're waiting on a couple of bolts and we're not going to have them until this evening. But since it's supposed to rain tomorrow, I wanted to get some quick proof of concepts done. The whole situation of how well this works, obviously it's going to be better than an app that I have on my phone. You know, your phone's GPS is not that accurate, especially in comparison to something that's designed to steer equipment. So I'm showing you these things because, like right now, it's waiting for GPS, low quality GPS, can't record boundary, and it happens anytime I go under a tree, which majority of our fields are open, and that's really not a big problem for 95% of our land. But it is something I figured I'd point out because other people have that more often, and that's something they might want to be aware of. As soon as you're driving, you can see it's still plotting my line, my green. I've got green bars for my satellite, so it comes back quick, and then it'll say GPS is now ready to use. But from what I can tell, it never turned off my GPS boundary recording because I'm still getting a line. I don't know. Just pointing this out. I did try to update the firmware on it, and I was not able to because I need to get a different USB drive. It needs an 8 gigabyte or less USB thumb drive, which obviously nowadays it's kind of hard to find. So I'll find one of those and we'll use that, update that, or we'll update the firmware. I don't think it'll make a huge difference, but I'd rather it be up to date. Plus, I'd like to be able to pull data from this and look at on the computer. So now we have our boundary mapped, and I'm about to close that out here in just a second. I just want to see what it looks like and, you know, keep it on camera in case it's something you guys are interested in. I really like the fact that it shows me my heading. So at the very bottom there it says Filt heading 94.734 degrees. I like the fact that it shows me that. And the reason being is because if you're looking out in the distance, yeah, you can fixate on an object. But unfortunately, sometimes I have to look away from that object because I have other things going on. This is able to make sure that I'm still on that exact same path. So I do like that. And this is on the EZ guide, not EZ steer. Again, we're going to get to the EZ steer portion. And if you go backwards, it changes your back. It goes to your back azimuth. So now it shows that I was heading 272.114 degrees. So that's kind of cool. Oh, so it does notice there's no motor connected. Interesting. Alright, well I can still guide off of this. So whatever side the red line is on, that's where I need to head. So like in this case I need to go left. Alright, this is a good crash course for all of us apparently. I always feel like I should go away from the red, not towards it. It's engaged now. And that's exactly what it looks like while you're going. I would try and hold it up there for you, but I'm just going to shake the camera around and you won't be able to see nothing. So it's best you just see it that way. Now you'll notice the offset is quite a ways behind where my tractor is, and that's because I have it set up for a manure spreader, so it knows that the actual manure is coming off from the hitch pin 20 feet behind it. And again, that's some of those settings that you're going to want to ensure that you have them right and make sure that you're doing what you're supposed to as far as measurements, because when you don't, it'll be way off. And I will say that my measurements must be way better now, because yesterday it would overcorrect a little bit. It didn't walk back and forth, but it wasn't straight like it is right now. Now these spots right here are going to throw it off some just because there's a lot of rotation, but you can see those numbers are changing drastically on that to compensate for that terrain difference. So when the tractor leans to one side or the other, it's not making it think that the GPS has moved over a foot. Overall, I am very happy with it. It works really well. Like I said, there's minor things that I think are stupid, but it is what it is. You're gonna have that with about anything you buy. All right, so when I hit the, oops, I hit the button up the screen. When I hit that, I turn my PTO on. I'm gonna bring my RPMs up so I'm spreading like I should be. And now I'm doing absolutely nothing with my hands. The top left is showing you how many inches to the left or the right we are. The light bar is also indicating that as well. And then on the right, that's just showing me the speed that I'm moving. If I go through information, I'm not gonna hit the screen because I'm gonna make it move. So if I hit the button on the remote for information, again, it's showing me how much area I've covered, all that good stuff, but it's also showing me, showing me my heading. So like right now I'm heading 89.7 degrees. I think I'm aiming for 90. I can't remember what I set it at, but roll angle, all that good stuff. Pretty simple system to use though. I really like it. And so far it's been very accurate as far as where it's put us. Like I said, hopefully you guys can see this well. That's the purpose of why I have the camera up here like that. But you can see on the top left, it's showing the how far off or on target we are. So if we're off to the left or the right, you can tell that by the light bar up top. So like right now we're off just a hair to the right. Now we're back on center. And for me, inches of accuracy is perfectly fine. I don't need sub-inch accuracy. As long as I can stay within 4, 5, 6 inches, I'm pretty happy. Especially broadcasting manure, I don't really care so much on that one, because our manure, we have plenty of it. It's free. And we'll end up actually spreading it in some other places when we have more than what we need. And that's it. I know I talked about it earlier, but you don't have to take the motor off of the wheel. You can steer with it on the wheel. And yeah, it's obviously a little bit more difficult than if I were steering without it on the wheel. But it's not that big of a deal. If you want it out of the way though, pull that pin, move it over like that. It's relatively easy. The key to remember is putting it back on the wheel when you're about to engage auto steer. Otherwise you'll wonder why you're not staying on track. I do hope you guys found this video helpful, and I really want to make sure that others see that you don't have to spend $10,000 or $15,000 to implement auto steer or even guidance into an older tractor such as this Allis Chalmers 8030. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next time.